Have you ever found yourself reacting to things in a way that just doesn't quite add up, even to you? Well, today we're going to dive into a concept that hits home for millions of people, the adult child. We'll be using insights from the Adult Children of Alcoholics program to figure out what this term really means and what the path to healing actually looks like.
You know, this quote from the ACA Big Red Book is just so powerful. It perfectly describes that moment of recognition, that feeling like a bell has just been rung deep down inside you. It's that sudden, vibrating realization that all these hidden struggles you thought were yours and yours alone, they actually have a name, a cause, and a whole community of people who get it. For a lot of folks, this is the exact moment the fog starts to lift.
So what exactly is an adult child? I mean, the term itself can be a little confusing, right? It's not really about your age. It's about a set of emotional and psychological patterns that have incredibly deep roots in your childhood. Let's break down what that really means.
Okay, before we go any further, there's something really important to get straight here. Even though the name of the program has alcoholics in it, the term adult child has grown to include anyone who grew up in a home that just felt unpredictable, chaotic, or emotionally unsafe. The core issues, as you're about to see, are often exactly the same.
And this is the central idea right here. In these kinds of homes, kids learn to survive. They develop these traits, like being hyper-aware of everyone's moods or avoiding conflict at all costs, because they have to. They're essential for getting by. The problem is, they carry these survival tools with them into adulthood, where, honestly, they often do more harm than good. It's kind of like wearing a heavy suit of armor long after the battle is over.
So, how do these childhood survival traits actually show up in adult life? This is where it gets really interesting, because the effects aren't just random. They create this really distinct set of patterns in how we form relationships, how we see ourselves, and how we react to the world around us. Let's take a look at some of those. Here are just a few examples from a list of common traits called the laundry list. And it's called that because when people first read it, they often find themselves just ticking off item after item, thinking, yep, that's me. I mean, take addicted to excitement. If you grew up in constant chaos, a calm, peaceful life can feel, well, weird, right? Or confusing love and pity. That can happen if you were taught your value came from fixing other people. Every single one of these is a survival skill that has just outlived its purpose.
And this leads to a core conflict that so many adult children feel. This split between the false self and the true self. The false self is the mask we create to survive. You know, the people pleaser, the perfectionist, the one who tries to be invisible. But underneath all of that, the true self is still there, just waiting. The whole journey of recovery is really about taking off that mask and rediscovering the authentic person you've always been. You can imagine, living behind the mask of that false self is an incredibly isolating experience. So it totally makes sense that the first step toward healing isn't about fixing anything at all. It's about connection. It's about that profound, deep relief that comes from realizing you are not the only one who feels this way. This quote just nails that feeling perfectly, that sense of floating. It's the weightlessness that comes when you hear someone else put into words the exact feelings you thought you could never, ever explain. That's the moment the shame starts to dissolve because you finally realize the problem wasn't you. It was a shared experience. And this might be the most important message in this entire process. You aren't unique or insane. Your reactions, your feelings, your survival traits, they are a completely normal response to a deeply abnormal childhood. The healing really begins when you can finally shift that blame from yourself to the dysfunction you had to endure. This whole idea of a shared journey is actually built right into the support structure. There are no experts or gurus. Instead, everyone is a fellow traveler. And this is so crucial because it dismantles those old family dynamics of control and people-pleasing. It creates a community of equals, all just navigating the same path and helping each other out along the way.
Okay, so understanding the problem is a massive first step. But how do you actually heal from it? Well, the recovery program provides a whole set of practical tools, a new design for living that helps you replace those old survival patterns with healthier ways of being.
At the heart of the program, there's a framework for change, the 12 steps. Now, this slide is just a quick peek, but the core idea is to provide a structured way to look honestly at your past, address how it's impacting your present, and start building a new future. It's a process of moving from feeling powerless to taking personal responsibility, one step at a time. And a really beautiful and central tool in this process is this concept of reparenting. It's exactly what it sounds like,
learning to give yourself all the things you didn't get as a child. It means tuning in to that young, vulnerable part of you, often called the inner child, and offering it the compassion, the safety, and the unconditional love it always needed. It's about becoming your own loving parent.
So, after all this really difficult work of facing the past and learning all these new tools, what's the outcome? What's the point of it all? Well, the program offers a vision of what life can look like on the other side of healing, and they're often called the promises.
These are the promises of recovery. And what's so striking about them is that they're not about getting a better job or a perfect relationship. They are about a fundamental internal shift. It's about finding peace and serenity within yourself, taking loving responsibility for yourself, and then having that inner change just radiate outward into every area of your life.
And this brings us to this really beautiful core idea of recovery. It's not about pretending the cracks aren't there. The goal isn't to become some new, unbroken person. It's about healing the breaks, integrating the past into your story, and in doing that, returning to the wholeness that was your birthright all along.
So, we'll leave you with this question, because it really is the heart of this entire journey. What would it look like for you today to be the parent to yourself that you always needed? That is the path of recovery. It's a journey of self-compassion, of breaking cycles, and of finally coming home to your true self.